Good morning, dear students. So, we were talking in the about British drama, and we talked about G.V. Shaw and his Pygmalion, and now we would like to talk about Thomas Strain's Eliot. As a matter of fact, my dear friends, we have talked about Thomas Strain's Eliot in the initial slides also. There we talked about him in the poetry section. There we talked about Wasteland, and you see his poetic sensibility. So as a matter of fact, he is not unknown for you. Actually, you know him, and he was there actually. As a matter of fact, T.S. Eliot is very well known for his poetic creations and for his you see dramatic creations also at the same time. Thomas Strain's Eliot was born on 26 September 1888 and died on 4th January 1965. He was an essayist, publisher, playwright, literary and social critic, and one of the 20th century's major poets. So, as a matter of fact, my dear friends, he was an essayist, he was a publisher and playwright, and he was a social critic. And most of all, he was one of the leading figures of 20th century, and because of his Wasteland, and he got the Nobel Prize also. He got the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948. So he was a very influential figure of 20th century. He was born in St. Louis, Missouri in the United States. Then he moved to the United Kingdom in 1914 when he was only 25 years old, and was naturalized as a British subject in 1927 at age of 39. So, my dear friends, Eliot attracted widespread attention for his poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, that was published in 1915. So, this was, you see, a prominent poem, an important poem by, by Thomas Strain's Eliot, and this is the poem. Because of that, he was established as a poet in London, my dear friends. So, the Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which is seen as a masterpiece of the modernist movement. It was followed by some of the best-known poems in the English language, including The Wasteland, 1922, The Hollow Man, 1925, S. Wednesday, 1930, and 4 quartets, 1945. He is also known for his 7 plays, particularly Murder in the Cathedral, 1935. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1948 for his outstanding pioneer contribution to present-day poetry. So, as a matter of fact, you see his best-known poems were followed by some other collections. You see, The Wasteland came in 1922, and after that, Hollow Man came in 1925. And then S. Wednesday came in 1930, and then 4 quartets. So, you see, actually, he is known for his plays also, and the Murder in the Cathedral, that is prescribed in our syllabus, my dear friends, that came in 1935. So, as a matter of fact, you see, he was awarded with the Nobel Prize of Literature because of his outstanding contribution to the poetry. He was awarded with the Nobel Prize. Now we talk about Murder in the Cathedral. Is a kind of verse drama. It is a drama in verse by T.S. Eliot that portrays the assassination of Archbishop Thomas Becket in Canterbury Cathedral in 1170, first performed in 1935. So, my dear friends, you see, it is a kind of verse drama that portrays, that explains, that extols the assassination of an Archbishop, Thomas Becket, in Canterbury Cathedral. Eliot drew heavily on the writing of Edward Grimm, a clerk who was an eyewitness to the event. So, as a matter of fact, actually, Eliot, as a matter of fact, has taken the plot from, you see, Edward Grimm, who was an eyewitness to the event. So the play dealing with an individual's opposition to authority, was written at the time of rising fascism in Central Europe. So, as a matter of fact, my dear friends, this play is dealing with the individual opposition and the current systems of authority that was written at the time of rising fascism in Central Europe. Some material that the producer asked Eliot to remove or replace during the writing was transformed into the poem Burnt Norton. So as we were talking, my dear friends, actually you see some of the material were asked to be removed. As far as the plot is concerned, my dear friends, so as we were talking initially also when we were talking about the, you see, introduction of this murder in the cathedral, the action as a matter of fact occurs between 2nd and 29th December 1170, chronicling the days leading up to the martyrdom of Thomas Becket following his absence of 7 years in France. Becket's internal struggle is the main focus of the play. So actually the actual scene or the actual event as a matter of fact happened between 2nd and 29th December 1170, and you see this was a kind of martyrdom of Thomas Becket, and you see and later on the play as a matter of fact focuses on the internal struggle of Becket actually. So that the internal struggle has been discussed and it has been delineated in a fascinating way. The book is divided into 2 parts. It's a very important point to note and to know. The book actually, The Murder in the Cathedral, is divided into 2 parts. Part 1 takes place in the Archbishop Thomas Becket's hall on 2nd December 1170. The play begins with a chorus singing, foreshadowing the coming violence. So, once again, a very important thing to know. The play begins actually, there is a chorus and they are singing actually. But at the same time, they are foreshadowing the coming violence. They are anticipating, as a matter of fact, they are anticipating the violence. So the chorus is a key part of the drama with its voice changing and developing during the play, offering comments about the action and providing a link between the audience and the characters and the action. As in Greek drama, 3 priests are present and they reflect on the absence of Becket and the rise of temporal power. A herald announces Becket's arrival. Becket is immediately reflective about his coming martyrdom, which he embraces and which is understood to be a sign of his own selfishness, his fatal weakness. The tempters arrive, 3 of whom parallel the temptations of Christ. So you see actually this is they were singing actually the chorus and they are anticipating a coming violence, and you see the chorus is also taking part in drama as a matter of fact, and you see they are providing very useful comments, and they are a kind of link in the play between audience and the characters. So 3 priests are also there in the drama, and they reflect on the absence of Becket and the rise of temporal power. And later on, a herald announces Becket's arrival. So a herald says that Becket is going to come. Becket is immediately reflective about his coming martyrdom. So immediately he is reflective about it, which he embraces and which is understood to be a sign of his own selfishness, his fatal weakness, you see. The tempters arrive. Later on, the tempters come actually, 3 of whom parallel the temptations of Christ. And these 3 tempters, my dear friends, they are, as a matter of fact, they are the temptations of Christ actually. This is a very important point actually. So they are the temptations of Christ. Now here we go for the plot. The first tempter offers the prospect of physical safety. The first tempter offers the prospect of physical safety. Take a friend's advice, leave Bel alone, or your goose may be cooked and eaten to the bone. The second offers power, riches, and fame in serving the king. To set down the great, protect the poor. Beneath the throne of God, can man do more? The third tempter suggests a coalition with the barons and a chance to resist the king. To set down the great, protect the poor. To set down the great, protect the poor. Beneath the throne of God, can man do more? The third tempter suggests a coalition with the barons and a chance to resist the king. For us, church favor would be an advantage. Blessing of Pope, powerful protection. In the fight for liberty, you, my Lord, in being with us, would fight a good stroke. Finally, a fourth tempter urges him to seek the glory of martyrdom. Finally, the fourth tempter urges him means the Becket, urges him to seek the glory of martyrdom. You hold the keys of heaven and hell, power to bind and loose. Bind, Thomas, bind, king and bishop under your heel. King, emperor, bishop, baron, king. Becket responds to all of the tempters and specifically addresses the immoral suggestions of the fourth tempter at the end of the first act. Now is my way clear, now is the meaning plain. Temptation shall not come in this kind again. The last temptation is the greatest treason, to do the right deed for the wrong reason. So this, you see, the fourth tempter urges Becket to seek the glory of martyrdom, and he suggests so many things, and because of so many things, actually he becomes ready for the martyrdom actually. So he says later on, now is my way clear, now is the meaning plain, temptation shall not come in this kind again. The last temptation is the greatest treason, to do the right deed for the wrong reason. So, my dear friends, actually, the interlude of the play is a sermon given by Becket on Christmas morning 1170. It is about the strange contradiction that Christmas is a day both of mourning and rejoicing, which Christmas also do for martyrs. So actually that interlude, actually, and that particular sermon that is given on Christmas morning in 1170 actually. It is about the strange contradiction of the day of Christmas, because it is a day of both mourning and rejoicing, which Christians also do for martyrs. He announces at the end of his sermon, it is possible that in a short time you may have yet another martyr. We see in the sermon something of Becket's ultimate peace of mind, as he elects not to seek sainthood, but to accept his death as inevitable and part of a better whole. So he also announces that it is possible that in a short time you may have yet another martyr. Because you see, because it is a day of mourning and rejoicing, so it is possible that in a short time you may have another martyr also. We see in the sermon something of Becket's ultimate peace of mind, as he elects not to seek sainthood, but to accept his death as inevitable and part of a better whole. So you see, he elects not to seek his sainthood. So this is the inner desire of Becket's mind. The part second of the play, my dear friends, takes place in the Archbishop's Hall and in the Cathedral. 29th December 1170. 4 knights arrived within urgent business from the king. These knights had heard the king speak of his frustration with Becket and had interpreted this as an order to kill Becket. They accuse him of betrayal and he claims to be loyal. He tells them to accuse him in public and they make to attack him. But priests intervene. The priests insist that he leave and protect himself, but he refuses. So actually, these knights come there, and they have heard about the king speak of his frustration with Becket, and had interpreted this as an order to kill Becket. They accuse him of betrayal, and he claims to be loyal. He tells them to accuse him in public. They make to attack him, but priests intervene. But the priests are there and they intervene. The priest insists that he leave and protect himself, but he refuses. The knights leave and Becket again says he is ready to die. Knights leave after some time. Knights leave the place, and you see, then Becket once again says that he is ready to die. The chorus sings that they knew this conflict was coming, that it had long been in the fabric of their lives, both temporal and spiritual. The chorus again reflects on the coming devastation. Thomas is taken to the cathedral, where the knights break in and kill him. So, chorus laments, clean the air, clean the sky, and the land is foul, the water is foul, our beasts and ourselves defiled with blood. At the close of the play, the knights step up, address the audience, and defend their actions. The murder was all right and for the best. The murder was all right and for the best. It was in the right spirit, sober and justified, so that the church's power would not undermine stability and state power. So, you see, chorus is there, and once knights leave the place, Becket again says that he is ready to die. And then you see, chorus is there, and chorus is again reflecting that coming devastation. Thomas is taken to the cathedral, where the knights break in and kill him. So there actually cathedral, why the title has been, made murder in the cathedral. It is because of cathedral, you see, because Thomas is taken to the cathedral, and where actually knights, suddenly they appeared there and then they killed him. The chorus laments. Then choruses started lamenting on it. Clean the air, clean the sky, and the land is foul and the water is foul. Our beasts and ourselves defiled with blood. At the close of the play, the knights step up, address the audience and defend their actions. So because they had to come there actually, and they had to defend their actions. So they say actually the murder was all right and for the best. It was in the right spirit, sober and justified, so that the church's power would not undermine stability and state power. So they actually tried to justify their actions, and they tried to justify their base, that how they did it. So this was what actually about murder in the cathedral. As we were talking, my dear friends, initially, you see, we were talking about T.S. Eliot. So T.S. Eliot, as a matter of fact, was one of the important figures of modern poetry, and he was an important poet and a very well-known dramatist also. So he was, because of that, he was awarded for the Nobel Prize of Literature in 1948. And as far as murder in the cathedral is, you see, concerned, it is a kind of drama that you see that talks about the rifts of an individual and church actually. So it is a kind of rift and the kind of argument, bias between the church and an individual. So because of that, you see, this archbishop had to sacrifice his life. So this was about that, my dear friends. I hope you must have understood the point of murder in the cathedral and T.S. Eliot as well. Thank you very much.